I think it's officially greetings and salutations from the pub of pubs, Brewhouse. So it's that time of the year, that time of the day, that time of the week where you and I, sir, are talking stuff. And that's the official term.
The official term is stuff. I want everybody to go ahead and mark that down. Just prepare yourselves accordingly for stuff.
So it is stuff. Welcome to soccer over there, soccer down here from the Brewhouse. It is that time where we're going to be talking a bunch of things in a bunch of different places. And first and foremost, Nick, before we get into what's going on in MLS, what's going on in over there.
Yeah.
Obviously, big shout out and let everybody who is a fan of Tormenta FC, biggest and best, warmest vibes and thoughts and prayers and everything. Obviously, with everything going on with Lucas Coutinho right now, it is, for those who didn't get the chance to see it over the weekend, it was a nasty head injury, and it went down in their match against FC Tucson. It was a 16-minute delay, and clash of heads, and Lucas was taken to a Savannah area hospital, and right now, obviously, a lot of folks, USL doing a very classy thing. Jake Edwards, the president, flying Lucas's mother and grandmother up from South America to be with him in Savannah. So, obviously, we'll keep everybody up to date with what's going on with that. But obviously, want to let everybody know about Lucas Coutinho and Tormenta FC if you have not heard about that. So, just want to give that bit of an update and just let everybody know where our thoughts are as we start the show today.
Absolutely. You know, it's anytime something like that happens, it's an unfortunate part of the game. But the fact that the USL is really coming through and helping to take care of them, that just shows that class organization, class league, well done on all ends, and of course, speedy recovery to him as well.
All right, so as we get into what happened last night, I guess the easiest thing to say is that Jason is somewhere between Portland, Seattle, and Atlanta.
He's not here.
No. So this is Caddies at Bushwood, brother.
Absolutely. There's no telling what's going to happen here. We have no governor today. There's no limiter on the show.
No. And so when it's Nick and myself, it is truly going to go, I don't know how sideways it's going to go considering how much we have to talk about.
Yeah.
But I know that you wanted to start off with a rant.
Yeah, if I could.
So what I'm going to do is just flat out yield the floor so you can get your rant in.
All right, so this is really more for the parents out there. And if you're a youth coach, by all means, feel free to take this to heart as well. I saw something this weekend that concerned me. It's tournament season. The heat index was about like 105. And during one of the games, I will not name the kid's name or the family's name to protect the... But I see a kid, and he's running around. He's a little wobbly. He's got his hands on his head. And the parents are yelling at this kid, get into the game, get into the game, get into the game, right? Because when you're a parent and you're on the sidelines, naturally the world stops and you're focused on your child. My problem here is that the kid was clearly in distress. And I look at the kid and I say, hey man, are you okay? And the kid says, no, while holding the head. I say, take a knee. Because if you tell your kid to take a knee, gameplay stops. The ref will stop the game. The kid shoots a very worried glance down the field to see where his parents are. And I look at him again and I catch him. I say, son, take the knee. The kid is off the field in a minute, pulled to the side under a medical tent and receiving medical attention immediately after, does not go back into the game. My point is this. As parents, if I ask this kid's parents at any other time, if it comes down to your kid overheating to try to get that one extra touch, that one extra minute, that game-changing play, but you're risking the health of your child, does your child stay in the game? 10 out of 10 will say no. But when you're in the game and your child is in the game, you go to a different place. Parents, I'm asking you, for the safety of your children, not to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. Take your kids off the field. Coaches, keep an eye out, especially in this heat. Not every parent is smart about hydrating. Hydration is ridiculously important, and this is the soccer down there, little kids soccer component. Kids, drink the water. Drink all the water that your parents put in front of you prior to tournaments. Drink Gatorade, drink something, I don't care. Stay hydrated. But parents, I'm telling you right now, if you do not pull your child in that situation where they look like they're moderately distressed for a U11 tournament, you are failing your children. And with that, I'm going to get off my soapbox, John, because that's all I can say before I start getting into the land of profanity.
Oh, come on.
And whatnot. Look, I went through this whole spiel about 4 times on my way down here to the show, down to the wonderful Brewhouse, and every time I dropped at least 3 F-bombs. Parents, get your act together. Get your kids off the damn field if they look like they're turning a different shade of red, purple, the hair's matted, whatever. If they're overheated, get them off the damn field and don't put that into the coach's hands. Be a parent and make that move happen. Thankfully, the team I'm with, our coach comes prepared, has cold towels, everything ready, but in tournament season, you're out there all day. Take care of your damn kids. Don't let somebody else do it for you. That's my rant, John. I'm sorry. I had to do that.
No,
I had
absolutely.
To do it.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
As someone who has just ranted about it, and I ask this in all honesty, how prevalent is something like this?
It's very prevalent. And I see this a lot. I see parents, and the problem is, John, it's parents who get caught in a situation where they become more of a fan, and nobody wants to have that view of, oh, my child is the weak child. My child is the one who can't keep up. So they say, oh, no, just tough it out. And I see this with kids with concussions as well. I saw this like 3 times last year where a kid clearly got kicked in the head, kneed in the head, elbowed in the head. And the parent says, oh, he's fine, tough it out. No. That's a brain injury your child just suffered. And this isn't the Thrilla in Manila. This isn't the Rumble in the Jungle. It's not an expected thing for your child to suffer a head injury. It's not UFC 246. It's U10, U11 soccer.
Yeah.
So if you see that your child is injured, the coach has a lot to focus on, may not see your child in that situation. As a parent and a guardian, it's your job to get your kid off the field. But this happens a lot. And parents keep pushing these kids for what? There's no dream scenario here. It's not like there's a scout for Atlanta United who says, you know what? Hey there, Mr. Alifi. You know what? Your son Jackson, I think your kid has what it takes to start against Orlando this weekend. Yeah, this isn't a Disney movie. Your 11-year-old, your 10-year-old is not going to start in MLS this week. Pull the kid off the field.
The 10 and 11-year-old's not going to start in MLS?
No. Unless this turns into one massive Disney movie, I don't think that's going to happen.
All right, I'm going to close the door behind you so we don't have as much traffic going on.
Okay. While John's doing that, I would like to say that there are a lot of coaches and parents out there doing the right things, but I saw a few that I almost had to go fisticuffs with.
Fisticuffs?
That's right, fisticuffs, sir. We almost had UFC 235 happening. I'm skilled in jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. I'm willing to defend your child's honor and health and safety if you won't do it.
Okay, so I made my first error at the Caddies of Bushwood.
All right, there we go.
I put it on the other app.
Okay.
I put it on the OSG Sports side. It's not on the SDH side.
So we're not live on the SDH right now.
We're live on OSG right now and Spreaker and everybody else.
I would like to say hello to all of those wonderful people.
So I've linked it out.
There we go.
And I've given everybody else the opportunity to sit here and perhaps even download the OSG Sports app.
There we go.
So
as you should.
The first mistake of the night.
Hold on, John. Let's not. First of all, in corporate America, this is a branding opportunity. This is not a mistake. It's a branding opportunity. John, tell us what you can find on the OSG Sports app.
Anything and everything that's not soccer related. See, the funny thing is, now when you download the OSG Sports app, it's college football, it's wrestling, it's our friends from Barn Burner up in Canada, all of their content that comes down. all of the CFL content, college, pro, NFL, all the other stuff that's not soccer appears over here on the OSG Sports side.
So if I'm interested in SEC football, can I hear about that on OSG Sports?
That is correct, sir. You can.
If I'm interested in ACC sports, can I hear about that on OSG Sports?
That is correct, sir.
See, that's a wealth of content. I think everybody needs to be a part of this.
So then what you need to do is what you've done with the SDH app on Spreaker. Go and do the same thing. Download the OSG Sports app. So there you go. There's my first branding opportunity of the evening.
The first branding opportunity.
See, considering this show is a crossover.
Correct.
Of SDH and SOT. I figure the crossover ends up going to the other app as a part of the family. Yeah. See, but the thing is, this is the weird part. SDH is a show. Appears on the SDH app.
That's right.
But it appears on the OSG app as well. So SDH goes to both SDH and OSG. Apparently OSG does not go to SDH.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to have conversations with people about this. I need to see supervisors. My new name is Karen.
Yes.
And Karen needs to see the manager immediately.
Yeah, really?
And the supervisor and that person's supervisor as well, because we have inquiries.
Okay. Now, I was going to wait until the end.
Okay.
But since we have already started branding the show and cross-promoted.
Yes.
I have some things for you.
Oh, my. Okay.
Now, as promised, as I told you on road trips in the past.
Yes. Oh, my God.
My last road trip a couple weeks ago went to Kane County, Illinois, and the Kane County Cougars rebranded themselves for crossover marketing purposes for a couple of Saturday nights this year as the Kane County Atomic Pork Chops.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I have to describe the hat to everybody who is listening. This hat is absolutely majestic. Minor League Baseball hat. It is a very angry pig head wearing a baseball cap with the atomic nucleus behind it. It is absolutely majestic. It is I will say it's a sort of seafoam blue and neon green. The logo is, with a wonderful blue hat. Mr. Nelson, you have completely outdone yourself. Thank you.
Give it time.
This is
it's Dan Graham on Twitter wants to know if I'm still fighting the powers that are to get the show on the air.
Yes.
I have gotten the show on the air. It's just on the wrong channel.
It's on the wrong channel.
It's on the wrong network. And John Dolzar on Twitter says, wait, John made a tech blunder?
Well, look, okay, there's a lot going on here because we have so much news to cover.
Well, wait a minute. We're not done.
We're not done.
No, we're not.
Oh, wait. There's more?
There's more.
Oh, wow. The Miracle of Castel di Sangro. Wow. Italy, I'm reading the back now. I'm reading the back of the book. So Italy is composed of 20 regions. Some are legendary. Others are extremely popular with foreign tourists, and still more, though not as well known to outsiders, prized by the Italians themselves. And then there is the Abruzzo. Frommer's 1996 Guide to Italy describes it as one of the poorest and least visited regions in the country, arid and sun-scorched, prone to frequent earthquakes. The Abruzzo is impoverished and visually stark. It is a region, says another guidebook, in which there is little of interest to see and even less to do. The reputation was not acquired overnight. Nathaniel Hawthorne visited it in the 19th century, Mr. Nelson, and wrote, even then, the region was without enough life and juiciness to be any longer susceptible of decay. An earthquake would afford it only the chance of ruin beyond its present ruin. This is a must-read.
Yeah.
I thank you so much. I'm touched.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It has to do with a team that fought its way up through a lot of the lower levels of Italian soccer.
Wow.
Made it right to the edge of Serie A. And that profiles that season of getting so close, but something went horribly wrong toward the end.
Oh, I cannot wait. This is... So, if you're new to the show... I managed to somehow weasel my way into this by discussing Serie C teams with John and Jarrett and Jason.
True.
And so anything that involves lower level Italian soccer is absolutely
And I
must
think
read for
that's
me.
the guy that wrote Fatal Vision.
I'm on board. I'm 100% on board with this. I am completely flabbergasted and damn near speechless. And if you would like to see this in person, you can make your way up to Brewhouse.
Yes. And for Monday Night Football.
And yeah, Monday Night Football will be happening.
Yeah, and we're 6 to 8 during Monday Night Football season.
Yes.
So normally we're 7 to 9, but during Monday Night Football here in the late summer, fall, and winter months, we're going to go 6 to 8, unless no one wants to watch Monday Night Football. Then we might go back to 7 to 9.
Hey, there's no telling. But, you know, we all know that the crowds can get pretty raucous up here at Brewhouse. So if you're in traffic now, there's better places to be than stuck in traffic.
For real?
I mean, we all know Atlanta.
Yep.
And there's a threat of rain on the north side. So we all know what happens. You could be driving down I-285, John, and dump a half bottle of Mountain Dew. It's going to lead to a 32-car pileup and a 6-hour delay. You might as well stop, come down to Brewhouse, get some good food, get some beer, and hang out with us and talk a little soccer, and then check out these wonderful gifts that John Nelson has just dropped in my lap.
I'm dropping gifts.
Okay, so are we ready to do Overreaction Monday?
Why not? After I've completely and totally sent folks to an entirely different network to listen to the show.
It's okay. It's okay.
And I've gotten... So, yes, Dan says it wasn't showing up on the app. Yes, that's correct, because I sent it to the wrong network.
Well, it happens, you know. It happens, and even Jason is bombing us on this, and he's making fun of us on the DMs.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's making fun of us on the DMs. So I wonder if he's listening at 35,000 feet. And here's the thing: there's nothing he can do about it. He's 35,000 feet up in the air. I'm sorry, Jason and Mike Conti. There's nothing you can do. We're running the show. I mean, you could always fire me later, I guess, but whatever. We're here now. So it's almost like network, but with soccer.
Mad as hell. I'm not going to take this anymore.
That's right.
Okay, so I'm just going to, it's almost going to be word association, although we did have some folks on the Twitters. When I mention Armando Villarreal, what comes to mind?
Ineptitude. General ineptitude. Do you want me to expand upon that?
Go for it.
If I'm a foreign player, if I'm in South America, if I'm in Europe, and I'm thinking about maybe coming to MLS to build my brand, to see my last contract days out, or to build a career, the problem I'm going to have isn't the level of competition. It's the ineptitude of the officiating. And it's so wildly inconsistent that it takes away from the game in general. The officiating, I mean, it blows my mind that you can have Pro come out and say, "Hey, Atlanta, hey, we're really sorry, but
my bad." It's like if Pro was Michael Starry. My bad.
Yeah, my bad, guys. We kind of blew that penalty call, and we really messed it up, and I'm very sorry. And then to come out and do it another week, and I get it. I get it that PT has a reputation. I understand, but when you go to VAR and you watch them take that guy's legs out from underneath them. Come on. You got to call it.
But you didn't.
But you didn't, did ya? You didn't.
You didn't.
You were supposed to get me 20 cars, not 19 and a half. That's a Gone in 60 Seconds reference for anybody else out there.
Okay. All right, so if we get into Villarreal here for a second.
Yes.
First half numbers, and I believe Joe Patrick from Dirty South Soccer posted them. 5 fouls called on Portland, no cards. 3 fouls called at one point on Atlanta United, 2 cards.
Oh, that's a slight discrepancy.
Yes.
So could you give me the, let's rewind that.
Sure.
Could you give me the Portland numbers again?
That would be 5 early fouls, 0 cards.
0 cards.
0 cards.
0 cards. That's sort of the oval thing that's at the beginning of counting numbers, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Zero.
0, and yet here we are with this crap where you're so mind-bendingly inconsistent that you can't even call a game correctly.
Yeah, and I mean, listening to Mike and Jason, I thought Mike was 100% correct in his incredulity. I really did.
See, I listened to the TV broadcast.
Okay, see, they were only about 15 seconds off.
Okay.
So I ended up listening to the radio side and yelling 15 seconds ahead of what you were hearing on the radio, and the boss was looking at me like I'd lost my mind. Why are you yelling right now? Well, I'll tell you in 15 seconds. See? That's why.
This is something MLS is going to have to figure out. And you saw this also in the DC United Vancouver game, where Wayne Rooney has the ball, he gets tackled from behind, and there's no call. The ref just says play on. And as Wayne Rooney's getting subbed off, he goes to the fourth official and starts going nuts. And he says, every game, every week, every blanking week.
Yeah.
And that's because,
and he used the word blanking?
It
was match game?
He did not, because I believe that the lovely Dr. Wifey and the Duchess are listening at home. I elect to use. And for the sanctity of our network, the OSG Sports Network, I have to keep it clean.
Well, yeah, because I didn't hit the little button knob that says people needed to be worried about language.
But it's something where officiating is going to be a bigger issue for this league to overcome than roster expansion, than raising the salary cap, adding another DP. And that's not the league. I get pro as a separate entity. I get it. But for American soccer, the step number one is ensuring that the game is regulated and refereed correctly. And if you can't even do that, then you shouldn't be doing this to start with.
Yeah.
And it's a multifold problem, as are most problems, not just with the referees that they currently have on deck, but also the ones who are coming up. I mean, we're chasing kids out of the game at a very young age because parents are using profanity left and right on them, so the kids who could be qualified to be a great ref won't do it. So it's,
they're using blanking words?
They're using blanking words. And again, I saw this past weekend during tournament weekend, but it's something that it's more pervasive as you go up, and the fans have no problem letting refs hear it. And we say, well, they're a referee, they should be used to it. But it's chasing good talent out of the game, and instead we're stuck with a collection of knuckleheads. And this guy is one of the knuckleheads. I hope he can work his way out of it. So that's if we can somehow manage that, it would be wonderful that this guy can get education and corrected and guided, and Howard Webb needs to do his end as well. But are you seeing any progress with the game so far?
I think you have. It's like you have those who are very good, those who are very bad. So therefore, the average would be about a C.
Okay.
So, and those who are very bad, sadly, they stand out more than the others do. Here's your numbers from last night.
Let's go.
All right. Fouls. 18 fouls called on Portland.
How many cards?
Uno.
18 fouls, they only had one card?
One card, and there was no persistent infringement called on Diego Chara.
Oh, no.
So, then, at Land United, 8 fouls. Number of yellow cards, 3. 37.5% of your fouling resulted in a card if you're in Atlanta United.
I have to be very careful with how I word this.
Okay.
I grew up being a fan of a league where anytime there was a officiating error, people automatically dropped a different F word, which was fixed. And when you have garbage officiating, you have that problem. That word comes in. Whether it is or not is immaterial, because it allows fans to sit there and say, hey, something's very wrong here.
Yeah.
That call should have never on any planet that call shouldn't have been missed. And yet here we are.
Yeah.
You have to.
You really are measuring your words, aren't you?
I am, because the F words are like right there at the back of the throat. Because you can't call yourself a professional and have this level of ineptitude. You can't. At some point, you get it. If you're in corporate America and you mess up once or twice, it's okay. Making mistakes, it's okay. But when you have absurd errors that cost your organization prestige, money, and marketing profile, you have to answer for that. And repeatedly, Pro has put themselves in a position where their employees have had such egregious errors that it has affected the outcome of games. There's a monetary investment here from teams. If they make the playoffs, they can go to their fans and say, we are competitive. Look what we were able to do. If you're Orlando and you're in a position where you are right on the edge of the playoffs, right? You're right there. It can happen. And what you miss that because of goal differential by 1 goal. What are you going to do? Because Pro messed it up. Pro screws up. You lose a goal, and now you're out of the playoffs, and yet it's another year of Orlando not making playoffs, less season tickets. There's a monetary impact here. Pro has to be aware of this. They have to sit down with these officials and go step by step, what they called in the Marine Corps Barney style,
right?
Where if you had somebody who required a little extra attention, hey there, Chief, we're going to break this down Barney style for you, and you go by the numbers. This is a tackle. This is a penalty. See this wonderful box right here? Yeah. If a foul occurs in there, it's a penalty. This is what constitutes said call. This is what's called dog-so. and yet here we are.
See, in the first half hour of the show, once again, thanks to our friends at the Brewhouse Cafe for hosting us every Monday here for Soccer Over There. And since it was 5 Stripes After Dark on the left coast, it is a mega crossover show, kind of like when Law & Order and Homicide hooked up.
Wow. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
And we do have some questions from this morning that will drift into the show, and one of them has to do with your second rant of the first half hour of the show.
Okay.
Kevin from Charlotte. Pitti gets the penalty call against Club America and not against MLS teams? Question mark. Only difference is pro refs.
Yeah. No, and that's 100% accurate, Kevin. And that's the issue here, is that you have officials who are having trouble managing a game. They are having trouble with basic fundamental functions of their job. Basic fundamental functions of their job. They have to get this stuff cleaned up. They have to. It's a must. It's a requirement. It's job number 1.
Job number 1. And we've had folks who have sent stuff in, like Kevin and Charlotte. Use the hashtag Overreaction Monday. I know that there'll be some carryover to Overreaction Tuesday and Tuesday Thoughts and things like that. Did you get your business taken care of?
I got the business taken care of, yeah. Which, the staff here, I have to say, is exceptional.
Yes.
Very friendly, very attentive, very helpful. So shout out to Brewhouse.
Okay, so let's see. What else do we have on the Twitters? ATL UTD polls. For sure, our depth is a huge strength, especially in a season like this where schedule congestion is the normal season long. This front office is killing it in the low and mid-range trades.
They are. There are a lot of people who thought Justin Miram was done as a top flight player in this league, and Atlanta picks him up, and look at him now. He made the play that got my attention last night was when he dropped back into our own 18, collected the ball, and he touched it like 3 or 4 times with just surrounded by Timbers players,
yep,
and then got rid of it. I mean, he has brought an element to this team that I thought it was going to be a major concern whenever Barco went down. That
right.
We were going to lose that person who could be explosive with the touch, with the possession ability, with who could feed it into the box. And Justin Miram has been spectacular, and you can't deny that. And Breck Shea, I hope that recovery goes quickly. He performed a role, any role that was given to him. Did he sometimes have a lead foot? Yeah, but you know what? There were a lot of times that he was very effective in what he was asked to do.
He wasn't meant to be here as a full-time starter.
Correct.
But being pressed into that role, you saw what he could be.
Yes.
But understanding going in that he's not meant to do that every single match out.
That's right.
Bello injured. Ambrose injured. Shea forward.
Yep.
It's next man up, and he had to do a whole lot more than he was originally thought.
I know the name is radioactive in this town.
Hit it.
But when you see the New England Patriots, it's a very similar mentality. They find players on the scrap heap. people who like where they were buried 4th or 5th on some team's depth chart, and then next thing you know, they trade like a compensatory pick or a 7th round pick, and then that person becomes a star. And we all wonder, what do they know that everyone else is missing? And I feel like this front office, and for people who say, oh, Nick, you're just, you're kissing the boots or whatever, I get zero money from Atlanta United. I dump a significant amount of money into their organization through merchandise sales and season tickets and whatnot.
Right.
But they have figured something out. There's something that they know when it comes to scouting that everyone else seems to miss. So if you're a team out there and you're thinking about which next big player you need to go grab, scrap that and then call up Atlanta United's front office and hit up their scouting department and start cutting checks until the money runs dry. Because you're going to be in a lot better position because no one else seems to get it. And then you see, LGP was, when he came into the team, was he thriving and taking things to the next level down in the Argentine Superliga? Not really. But here he is, regulating. Franco Escobar. Was he tearing things up in Argentine Superliga? Nope, here he is, regulating, scored the second goal in MLS Cup. I mean, Eric Rometti, what an absolute... As a Gennaro Gattuso fan, I love watching Rometti play because he reminds me a lot of Gattuso with the tenacity of defense. He rarely gets into trouble. He always breaks up plays. He's one step ahead of everybody else, and that pickup to me has been one that's been, without question, one of the keys to this team moving forward.
He's Nick Alifi at Nick Alifi. This is the Super Hyper Mega Law and Order Homicide crossover show. It's Soccer Down Here PM and Soccer Over There at Soccer Down Here at SOC over there on the Twitters. And don't forget, because of the programming crossover marketing opportunity that was created by my filing of this show, which Jason, I'm sure, is still at every half hour on the hour. Is he...
I'm checking right now. I'm checking the DMs. My phone is vibrating as I'm sure he's just exploding.
He heard the shout out and decided from 35,000 feet to say something.
I've yet. Okay, so he has not chimed in from my call out. I'm hoping that he's not being restrained by TSA mid-flight.
like in Bridesmaids?
That's right, exactly. Sir, you need to sit down, sir. They're on the wrong app. Sir, you need to sit down.
He put them on the wrong channel. No, he didn't put them on the wrong channel. He put them on a different channel within the network.
That's right.
All right, so a lot of stuff has gone on. Obviously, we'll be drifting in and out if anybody wants to give us your questions using the hashtag Overreaction Monday. We got a lot of stuff to talk about in and around all of that. Yeah, I could not resist the presentation of the atomic pork chop lid and the story of Castile de Sangro.
It is magisterial. The steal a Ray Hudson line.
All right, so what has gone on overseas, and where would you like to start?
What I would like to start with is Real Madrid. I have some concerns. Yes, Real Madrid won, okay, and that's all fine and good. But there were some things that concerned me about this team and about this game. Number one,
Gareth Bale's hair.
Remember when Zinedine Zidane said it would be better if it's tomorrow? When asked if Gareth Bale was leaving the team, he said it would be better. Tomorrow would be better, but wants him out, right? And now he wants to rely on, quote, important Gareth Bale. Now, this is, I think, a wonderful learning opportunity. As we talked about our marketing opportunity earlier, it's a wonderful learning opportunity.
Yes.
Because this is one of those things where you don't burn bridges.
Okay.
You don't trash talk someone on the way out the door. As tempting as it might be, you don't trash someone going out the door because you never know when you're going to need them. And as much trash as Real Madrid dropped on Gareth Bale to drive him out. We're going to send him on a free transfer. We'll send him anywhere he wants to go. Free transfer, no problem. Get out. Tomorrow, if he wants to leave tomorrow, it's fantastic.
Don't let the door hit you in the man bun on the way out.
That's right. Is Gareth Bale going to be joining us? I'm only talking about players who are on the team. Okay then. And then here you go. Trotting him out. I mean, what in the world are you doing? Zizou, I get that it's Celta Vigo and but Celta put up a good fight. They put up a great fight. And Odriozola on the at right back had a moment, and this is what's concerning me, John, about the mentality of the team. When you have a player who got clowned like Gareth Bale, he's out to make sure that his transfer value goes up because he wants to secure that paycheck. He's getting paid either way, whether he's sitting on the bench or whether he's playing.
Right. But
he wants to have a big-time team come and get him out in the winter window. So he's playing. He's doing what he had to do. He busted his butt. He set up a critical assist for Benzema. He played really well. But Odriozola got into a position where he cut inside and he was looking for an escape valve where Luka Modric was supposed to drop in. Luka Modric didn't run. He didn't walk.
Luka Modric, from what you and Jason were telling me, basically was quoting the other host of this show that I'm currently having a conversation with, not famming. He not fammed that.
Yeah.
He's like, not fam.
No, not fam. No, Modric just sat there and watched his right back struggle for an outlet pass. Would not drop in. Casemiro did not drop in. Varane did not drop in. Ramos didn't move. So the ball was taken off of Odriozola's foot, and thank God it was offside, or else they would have scored. And that's a mentality issue. When you can't even justify getting yourself to, let me just drop in an extra 10 feet. 10 feet. Let me drop back.
10 feet.
10 feet to drop back and get some sort of help from my
10
guy.
feet.
And you're not even doing that.
No.
Real Madrid has issues. Yes, they won the game, and they won it down a man because Luka Modric got super lazy and cleated Denis Suarez from behind.
Is that his new nickname?
Yeah.
Super lazy Luka Modric?
Yeah, super lazy. And
that's a superhero for you.
I get that people are like, well, he dragged Croatia to the World Cup. I don't care who he dragged. That doesn't bother me. Right now, Luka Modric has to decide whether or not he's all in for Real Madrid. All in or all out. Because you can't have sloppy mistakes like that at Real Madrid.
You can't not fam somebody?
No, you can't not fam somebody like that. To me, it was ridiculous. 57th minute, Modric gets a red. Your team's down. If that's any other team that's more competitive, that's Atletico, that's Barcelona. You're looking at a radically different outcome. And he has to be better than that. So that's what I saw there. Barca lost their opening fixture against Athletic Bilbao. Did you see the highlight of Aritza Durs? His overhead goal?
No.
Oh, yeah. And this is the best thing. He's 38 years old. 38 years old.
On an overhead?
Balling out of control. Stunning overhead kick. Messi's out injured. Suarez looks to be injured. Griezmann was looking less than effective. He's new to the team. I'm not ready to bury him yet. But with Coutinho going to Bayern Munich on loan, which is now official.
Yes.
What can Barca do? Because there's a rumor out there that dropped that they are willing to do a loan with an obligation to buy for PSG to send them Neymar. I don't think he's going to fix that. I don't think Neymar is going to fix the issues with Barcelona right now. And if this is a sort of a snapshot and what a Messi-less future looks like for Barcelona, there's a lot of concerns.
Okay. Chris Hutchison. And this is the kind of show we're going to have here tonight. And we're here until 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And then we'll pick it up again tomorrow morning with Tuesday Thoughts and anything else that comes across our bow. 2 questions in the queue. What are you having? You're having
I'm
your
having
chicken
the
fingers?
beer-battered chicken fingers, which are exceptional.
Okay. Plus fries with the attached ketchup.
That's correct.
Okay. Chris Hutchison wants to know what other team in MLS has a management duo as good as Eels and Boca Negra?
I would say so far, you would have to look at LAFC simply because, just because of what they're doing right now. It's exceptional. Bradley, what Bradley's doing, the way that organization is set up. Yes, they have like 47 different owners, but
And Vincent Tan wants out, by the way, so he can consolidate and focus on Cardiff City.
hey, well, good luck to him. I will say this. I think I would have to say that it's either LAFC or I would have to say the Portland Timbers, I think, can get there as well.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at a team in Portland Timbers that doesn't have the fiscal capabilities of a LAFC or an Atlanta United, and yet they build and build and build, and they somehow make it work. LAFC, when you're building from scratch, as we know here in Atlanta, that's a tough deal. It's easier to get a lot more wrong than it is right, and they seem to be coming up aces so far.
Let me give you two more that are approaching things a little differently. Red Bulls, Philadelphia.
Can I throw in Minnesota on that?
Sure.
Because everyone clowned Minnesota last year. Everyone clowned them because they weren't obvious. They're not us. But this year they are extraordinarily competitive through patience and proper signings. I think they're a little more patient with the signings this year.
Right.
And but yeah, so tell me why you think it's going to be Philly and Red Bulls are your
Well,
answer.
I was just, the way that I was asking the question, just because of how they're building as opposed to Atlanta United, LAFC, who are doing it through purchase and transfer and all of that, where you have Red Bulls in Philadelphia who are doing it through their academies and doing it from the ground up that way, while Atlanta United is doing both, building through the academy and through the European transfer model. So I was throwing those two out there because of it being the ground up approach, not the three-dimensional approach that you see in Atlanta with academy plus purchase, develop, and turn. But with what we're seeing with Red Bulls with the academy, with what we're seeing with Philadelphia with the academy, especially last year and this year, a little different.
And that's going to be part of the future, right? And we can talk about that a little bit later as well. So I have some questions for you toward the end when it comes to how teams are building,
right?
And how we classify these teams going forward.
Yeah.
Because you can't get around the advantage that comes with starting a team from nothing, because you're not inheriting bad contracts. You don't have a sense of loyalty like Minnesota did to some of their USL players, right? You don't have that sense of loyalty like Nashville's going to have bringing their players up, or like Orlando had when they were having to build their team. And when you can make all of your signings from scratch, it allows you to be very choosy in who you bring in, because you don't have an angry fan base saying, well, why did you chase off Player X?
Yeah.
Player X was a hero in this town for a lower league, and then you got rid of him. No, everything's positive. Everything's big. Chris McCann, they were like, I've never heard of Chris McCann, but yay, Chris McCann. Tito Villalba, okay, he's a good-looking guy. Yay. What the God's name does he put into his hair to make it do that?
Carlos Carmona.
Yeah, Carlos Carmona. Right, we're bringing this guy from Atalanta. What? Okay, sure, yay, Carlos Carmona. And it allowed you a lot more freedom. And I think that's why the question, we do have to look at the question in a couple of different ways. From my point of view, where it's outside of Atlanta, it is LAFC with a clean slate. And then from your point of view, where it's teams building up to the academy and doing things in a different way. So, and that's what I love about MLS, is because we are seeing almost when you see the time lapse.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing. What happened in Europe over 50 years, 100 years, we're seeing now in like 5 years, 10 years, because everything, without the fear of pro-rel, these teams can send kids out there, suck for a couple of years, and build something big. So you can't really get around that aspect of it. There's a lot more safety here, and you can play the kids and be okay, like a Red Bulls or a Philly.
Premier League question from John Roper.
Okay.
And I told John that we would be consulting the SDH 8 ball for this one.
Ooh, yes.
How likely are Newcastle to be relegated? SDH 8 ball says very likely.
Very, very likely.
Wow.
That game, ooh. And they're already starting to turn on Mickey. They're already, which is idiotic, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I was having a conversation with with Jason Davies on the Twitter DMs about this, and he said that Newcastle is a sleeping giant because if the right owner gets in,
Correct.
and I said, well, my caveat is apparently you're going to have to steal Mike Ashley's kidneys in his sleep to get rid of the team. As a result, I can't qualify them as the sleeping giant. I see your point, John, and I see Jason's point that the stadium is enormous. There's a passionate fan base.
Yeah.
They are a legacy team.
This is an abject shame.
It is.
What Mike Ashley is not doing or not doing to Newcastle.
But we all laughed when he said, okay, Steve Bruce is the guy. We're all like, huh? What?
Yeah.
Huh? What?
Uh-huh.
Why? Why? What in God's name are you thinking?
Uh-huh.
And yet, they had a little bit of success. They had some signings, which more and more appears to be like, look over here, look, pay no attention.
Shiny object.
Yeah, shiny object. But
The great and powerful Bruce.
Exactly. And what you're seeing now
Woof.
is what happens when you get your cousin to come over and paint your house at a discount.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting right now. You're getting the cousin at a discount job. And I think it's 100% lock it in. They can fire Steve Bruce. Who's going to come in and lead you to victory? Because Rafa did it.
Jan Seward, he got fired by Huddersfield. He's eligible.
Is he going to keep Newcastle in the Prem?
No.
No. What are you going to do? You're going to call Frank DeBoer up? You're going to say, hey, Frank, you had some success in Atlanta. No, you had a bad shake at Crystal Palace. What if we actually banked on being relegated and gave you the time?
Yeah, it is just a real shame, and I know that Carl Segi, who listens to the show and is one of our big listeners, is a Geordie and is a Newcastle fan, and to see that fan base and to see those guys and to see that entire, I mean, you want the next Sunderland series?
Yep.
Newcastle.
I agree. I think that, but I would do that show even if I didn't have all access.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't have all access. Take a team and send them up there and just talk to the fans.
Yeah.
Find 5 fans to profile of different socioeconomic class and follow them to the game and get their take on what's going on. I feel so badly for those fans.
Yeah.
Because they are passionate, they're supportive, but you have to cut it off. You have to cut it off. You have to stop buying kits.
I mean, there were, 10,000 who allegedly protested, I think, before the first home match?
There should be more.
Yeah.
And at some point, you have to say, I'm not renewing my tickets. I'm not. Until something changes and Mike Ashley walks out. Mike Ashley should walk in and there should be like 400 Crystal Palace supporters waiting on him. Like there should be like, Bolton fan, or whoever, I don't care. Name the fan base.
Don't subject Boltonbury to Mike Ashley.
I am. I'm going to do it. Because something needs to happen. Because the guy, as long as he feels like he has value within that team, he's going to hold on to it.
Yep.
You have to devalue your product in order to force the guy from his position. And that means not showing up.
Well, but this is a guy who's bought the British equivalent to Laserdisc stores and discount toy stores and furniture and clothing and he bought them at pennies on the pound and is trying to flip them and turn them into profitable things.
But flipping implies that you are bringing value to something. So if you find a dilapidated house and you flip it, you're reinstalling the plumbing.
He's not. He's hiring his cousin to do the painting.
He is. He's getting his cousin to do the plumbing, the painting, and his cousin got an online, pastoral certificate to do beach weddings.
Yeah.
He has no kind of remote skill when it comes to pipe fitting and carpentry.
No.
And so he believes right now that he can still sell this team at a tremendous profit. If the team gets relegated, his position weakens.
Yes.
Because especially if they stay down in championship for 2 years, as opposed to the bounce back, you could be looking at this as a Sunderland in multiple ways, is that when they fall, they're not a team I don't think that's going to stay up.
See City, Swansea.
Yeah, they look like a team that's going to plummet. And if that happens, then he will be forced to sell, because there will be no value then. There will be no flipping.
There's no there anymore.
There's no there.
Shiva. So Frank DeBoer said this is a great system, but you have to be focused 100% of the time, otherwise you will get punished. Do you see us continuing like this the rest of the season, or reverting back to FTB's preferred conservative low-risk play come the playoffs?
I think that this is going to be the way going forward, and I have no knowledge of inside conversations. I have no knowledge of scuttlebutt or rumors.
I just don't have any knowledge.
It's okay, John. You make up for it in a lot of other ways. You have a tremendous personality.
There
John.
you go.
Good-looking guy.
I was waiting for that.
Tremendous guy. Look, handsome man. And a lovely, lovely wife. And that masks so much.
You are correct.
So many of the other faults.
Exactly.
I will say this. I think this is the way going forward, because
if it ain't broke,
yeah, you definitely aren't trying to fix it. But there will be hiccups, and they will lose a game here or there. But what you see now, the issue with Frank is that he prefers a more risk-averse methodology. The guys who were here last year, the team was built to take shots, to take chances, to have that more risk, that high risk reward. When you see the center backs bombing forward, that is an element of total football. That's the ghosts of total football. When they do a deep dive here, in the old days of Catenaccio, when the Italians were trying to grind out 1-0 wins, massive defensive play, 11 men behind the ball, defense was a work of art. Teams were screaming that this was the death of football because the Italians were going to kill it by being this just unstoppable defensive machine. The Dutch came along and said every person at every position on the field should be able to play every other position on the field. That means if you're a central defender, you should be just as likely and capable of going up and scoring as a striker or as a midfielder. And that broke Catenaccio. Now, you don't see teams running total football now because through the evolution of the game, teams found a way to beat that as well. But there are shades of it here and there. And Bielsa, when he loved Ajax and their methodology and how they had players that were risk takers and would go in and bomb forward. And that's why you saw LGP doing that. And now when you have backs who can be a part of this attack, and they've shown Frank that they can handle a ball, they can distribute a ball, they can do all the above accurately and consistently. That right there is going to make a huge difference. And when you have these other players that came in, like Florentine Pogba, who's featuring, and is Florentine a week in, week out starter? Probably not.
No.
But what you have now are players who they're comfortable in the structure. Meaning that I've never played in a 3-5-2. I don't know my role in a 3-5-2. I'm comfortable in a 3-5-2, just generally on how players are set up. I'm comfortable with my teammates. My teammates trust me. They know if I receive the ball, I can distribute the ball with effectiveness, and I will distribute it on time where it's supposed to be. And I know what to do when I don't have the ball, okay? And then they're comfortable in the system. How do we move the ball? What do we do when we don't have the ball? What do we want going forward? What do we do when we're driving back on defense? All of that is clicking now for this team. So I don't think there's going to be too much of a reason, even if you lose a game, because if you lose a game with those three things intact, you should be able to go to the video session and say, okay, we had an issue on a set piece here. Hey, Florentine, you're a little bit out of position. You didn't touch the ball to the right place. Remember, we'd like to do X, Y, or Z. Okay, good. Done. Next game, you go out and you get a win. If you have a sequence of losses and you lose in different ways, each one more catastrophic than the next, then maybe Frank goes back. But that's telling of a larger issue, not just a systemic issue, but a larger issue like, a player's fitness or a lack of concentration or things like that.
The passing that we saw in Five Stripes After Dark, other than the notion that the middle of the field, when Portland didn't have Lars Mabiala and had to piece things together with Tuiloma and later in the match, Konechny, and how you had it structured. The passing that Atlanta United showed last night was absolutely pinpoint perfect, and it was gorgeous at times.
Yes, it was. And that's what we talked about before. Comfortable in the structure. Players are comfortable in the 3-5-2. Gressel, that pass that he had to Martinez was not safe for work.
That was definitely a late night pass.
That's right. That is. There are several adult sites that are currently in possession of that highlight video, and you can tell that these players are comfortable. They're comfortable with each other. You saw Justin Miram coming in and bailing this team out. You saw Darlington Nagby just as comfortable as he was in the midfield, dropping back to the back line and helping on defense when Florentine would push forward. And when you saw those passes, that tells me that you are a team that is supremely confident in what your tactics are for that individual game and with the system overall. So yes, there were struggles at the beginning of the year. And there were a lot of people, and I'm calling you out right now, the Fire Frank crowd.
Yeah.
Troll accounts or not. This is what we've been saying to wait on when the system clicks. But part of system growth is not just having players buy into what the coach says or the manager says. It's also the manager recognizing, hey, I have my preferred system, but I have players that I need to do this with instead. And I think it was a growth opportunity for Frank and a growth opportunity for the team, and you're seeing the product of that growth now.
The lineup last night in Portland, backline, Tuilomo, Morera, Villafana, Cascante. Midfield, listed as 5. Chara, Valeri, Bobasi, Zambrano, Blanco, and then Fernandez up top. You could tell the center of the field once again. Without Mabiala, there was something that was missing. And Zambrano was being taken advantage of early on, especially. And the middle of the field was wide open. They were comfortable in the big switches, comfortable in the long passes. And to have that kind of confidence, I think, speaks to what the level of comfort that you were just talking about with the system and where folks are supposed to be.
That's right. And when you have players who are not comfortable and they don't understand their specific place in a system, they're going to try to maybe freelance a little more than they should. I can hold the ball a little bit longer than I need to because I'm not exactly sure where player X is going to go. So I have to hold the ball. And then I get robbed, and all of a sudden the other team's on a counter, and then your team is in a bad situation. When you're comfortable with the system, you know, okay, when I receive the ball, I know where player X is going to be because that's what we've trained for, that's what the system calls for. It calls for this type of pass in this particular situation. I know where to go. You're not being coached to do that now. The manager is not on the sideline telling you where to go and what to do. You just know to do it. And that's when you own a system, and that's when you completely know a system. And Frank, utilizing his many years of experience and saying, okay, I have to back off a little to get these boys to buy in, and I have to change things up a little bit, maybe be a little more risk-averse than I want to be, or less risk-averse than I want to be, and in order to make this thing fly. And when that happens, you can see players, and John, this is what I saw, that I saw players playing with joy.
Yeah.
When we talk about, and this is something that
they were finding joy?
Finding joy. And we hear all the time, these documentaries, the manager saying, I need you to find your creativity, use your creativity, find your joy in playing. And we're like, what the hell is this guy talking about, find your creativity? That's what they mean. Within a system, it's like a language. You can use textbook English, or you can get creative and use a lot more exciting and fun and interesting words, but you're still staying
you could
within
use
the language.
Chisenbot for math, basically?
Yeah, you can do that, or you can use a lot of words that George Carlin preferred.
Oh, that too.
But there's a lot of leeway. Once you know a system and you're comfortable with it, you know what to do and when. And that's what I saw last night with this team. And it was just something that it was like a Dutch-Argentine hybrid, and I loved it. I loved every bit of it because you had a team that understood, we're going to get caught here, let's drop back, recover, and handle. And Miram was that guy who dropped back, recovered, and put the ball exactly where it needed to go. I mean, if I have like a mid-season, if I have a mid-season award that I can give out to somebody, I'm giving it to Justin Miram because he's kept this team not just from sinking, but he's empowered this team to elevate in the standings, and that's something that I think can't be overstated enough.
And when we're discussing everything, it is officially a little past halftime here for the crossover mega show, Soccer Down Here, Soccer Over There. He's Nick, I'm John. Jason is at 35,000 feet and probably over Nebraska. That'd be my guess.
I would say, yeah, probably so. At this point,
because I think as we are talking, he's not landing for another 3 hours. And coming from the northwest corner, that to me means Nebraska-ish.
Yep.
So he's there, and it's the caddies at Bushwood. Basically, that's what's going on tonight. Why? Because we can.
We can. And here's the best part, is that we know that Jason, if you know anything about Jason, Jason has a love and passion for his craft. He puts a tremendous amount of preparation into everything that he does.
Yep.
But Jason also cannot sleep on airplanes.
No.
Which means Jason is probably listening to this right now.
I know where you're going.
Thinking these clowns are so underprepared. I'm not there. I could fill into and the caddies at Bushwood are running wild, baby. There's no stopping any of this. Because we're going to go off the rails here in a little bit. We're going to get into food, movies, God knows what else. Jason, there's nothing you can do, baby. You're at 35,000 feet. Sit back, enjoy the ride. Close your eyes a little bit. I wonder, do you think Conti's a guy who sleeps on a plane?
Yeah, I bet you Mike's out like that.
Immediately. Which means Jason's just stuck there listening to us.
And I mean, I go out on a plane, honestly. I go out during the pre-flight instructions.
Oh, yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the seat. That engine's at low rev, that noise, and I'm done.
Oh, yeah. I don't even have to recline the seat. Tony Alifi has taught me well. The minute I sit down, I buckle. If they have some radical overhaul in the safety procedures on an aircraft, I'm done for. I won't even know what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I won't know what exit to go to.
On the Twitters, Jason says in all caps, yes, I am listening.
Yes. Yes.
It works. So then, Jason, where are you? Inquiring minds want to know. As we start hour number 2, Chris Hutchison with a question.
Yep.
What do you think of the seemingly revitalized New England Revolution? They look like they're going to be a load down the stretch in their our last game of 2019.
They will be. If you are a team like we are that's going to be facing them at what could be a critical part of the season, I have trashed on Bruce Arena to no end. And I can't stand the smug way he gets in front of a microphone and just like, I don't care about winning at all. It doesn't bother me at all. I can learn more from Bill Belichick than I can learn from talking to Pep Guardiola. Whatever. It doesn't bother me.
Very nice.
I can't stand Bruce Arena, but the man can coach. And he had... And look, New England wasn't a bad team. Their previous management was just horrendous. I would rather have a moody captain, a moody good captain, than a happy bad one. Isn't that the line from Moby Dick?
Sure.
I would rather have a moody good captain, and that's what New England has at the moment. They have a captain, a manager who is moody, and he's a pain, and I think he's a trash national team coach, but the guy knows how to coach MLS, and he's going to have them competitive at the end of the season. If you're Atlanta United, that is a very concerning game. It's one you really have to make sure that you're dialed up for. I don't care how far ahead you are in the standings, because every point, every goal, clearly this season counts.
Did you hear about what happened in Harrison, New Jersey?
Are we talking about the dump? The
stench?
The stench?
Yes, and we're not talking about what was on the field. The literal stench.
All right, I have to defend the great state of New Jersey right now. I lived in New Jersey for a period of time. I lived in Hohokus, New Jersey, and Bergen County is North Jersey. New Jersey is a beautiful state, despite what many people believe, because they land at Newark and they see Newark and they're like, this state is a disaster zone of modern industrialization. But if you drive 20 minutes in just 20 minutes west. It's like Leave It to Beaver. It is perfectly manicured lawns. It's beautiful homes, walkable cities, fantastic mass transportation. It's a fantastic state with very angry drivers.
Sensing the conjunction in your sentence.
But
there you go.
Occasionally, as all great states do, New Jersey finds a way to shoot itself in the foot. And this is no different. If you are in, and look, if you're in Colorado, it's the same thing. You land in Denver and the wind blows the right way, the stench from the cow pastures will roll over you like the ocean tide, and it is horrendous.
Oh, wow.
But New Jersey does have a series of dumps nearby, and occasionally when it's warm and the wind blows the right way, it will waft in, and it will cover a garbage team like the New Jersey Red Bulls, and such a stench as they are worth. So good. I love New Jersey. I don't like the Red Bulls, and they should embrace Jersey. Embrace Jersey.
Don't just call themselves the New Jersey Red Bulls and get it over with.
If you played in the Meadowlands, I would call you the New York Red Bulls. You don't play in the Meadowlands. All right, even the Meadowlands is in New Jersey, but the city's right there.
This is Harrison.
You're in Harrison. You are not in New York. New York and New Jersey, though very close, might as be. It's like Atlanta from Alpha Centauri. Culturally, it's completely different. There's nothing remote. Like, watch any music documentary of the 80s when they talk about the avant-garde scene in Manhattan, right? When you're talking about Klaus Nomi in the avant-garde scene there versus what's happening with Bon Jovi and everything else over in New Jersey. Embrace Jersey. There's nothing wrong with being Jersey.
All right, so we have some intel from the plane itself.
Okay.
So John Dolzar is having a conversation with Jason on the plane through Twitter, not physically sitting next to him.
I was about to say, that's impressive.
I know, it would be. He's got a transmogrifier, so he can hop in and out and do whatever he needs.
I love it.
John Dolzar says, after he saw Jason's response, he says, all caps too, the flight attendants need to cut you off from the in-flight Red Bulls. Yeah. Jason says it's delirium at this point.
So we have a, shall we say, hyper attention to detail, an obscene load of caffeine.
Oh.
And
Jason is over Montana.
Whoa,
he just sent a screen cap of the the in-flight map thing.
Yeah.
He's somewhere just passing Idaho and into Montana. So he's like hanging out near like Kalispell or Helena or something.
Is the pilot doing S-curls on the way? Like, is he like...
I mean, obviously the pictures are pretty at 4:10 in the afternoon of the Rocky Mountains.
I'm immediately issuing thoughts and prayers to the people supplying Jason with Red Bull at this point. I have thoughts and prayers for Jason as well because he's not able to sleep. And Jason, maybe, if you cut your Red Bull intake down to 7 within a 2-hour period, you might be able to sleep on the airplane.
But that is the current update since he took the photo of the map in front of him using the program on Delta.
Oh, my.
So, yeah, he's in Montana, and so he's probably not going to get here till about 11 or 11:30 Eastern.
No. But it's... And if you have never been to Portland, I will tell you, I got married in Oregon. We found a little beach town, myself and Dr. Wifey, called Yachats, which is spelled Yachats. They have a lovely little brewery. So it's spelled Yachats.
I was going to say Yachats?
Yeah, it's spelled Yachats, but it is pronounced Yachats. The best... Yachats. But it has, without question, the best seafood I have ever eaten in my life.
Wow, okay, that's a call.
In my life. And they have a lovely little brewery there that makes all kinds of different beers, and the beers are really, really good. They care a lot about their craft up there. So that's my plug.
Okay.
Shameless plug for Yachats.
For Yachats, Oregon.
That's right. But Portland itself is an absolutely gorgeous city. The food scene is nuts. The beer scene is even better. And if you like mead,
No,
You don't like mead?
not a mead drinker.
Okay, well, if you like mead, unlike my dear friend John Nelson, who thinks that Brunswick stew is made in like Virginia or something, and not in South Georgia, but that's okay. Says a lot. But
The Canadian Maritimes.
the mead scene is top flight as well there, and the coffee. It takes. You can't go in to any place in Portland and get a cup of coffee quickly.
Okay.
It takes 7 minutes per order because they have to like find fresh virginal coffee from the gentle slopes of whatever single source place they find it. And if you pay enough money, you can find out the farmer's name, probably go visit. It's worth it though. It's really good coffee.
I want to go visit your coffee farm.
And you should.
I want to go do that.
It's free-range, ethically treated, conflict-free coffee.
There you go.
Really
Yes,
try it.
conflict-free coffee is what we all need. Kevin from Charlotte had a poll,
Okay.
and I'm just leaving that right where it is because there's too many directions I could take it. So since the Joseph statue has to be built, what would you rather see? Mm-hmm. The iconic stare, the kneel to the king, arms out, or the half fusion pose?
I'm going to take this in a different direction.
The results are in on the poll, but
Okay.
go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Please give us the results of the people.
45% of the folks who participated in the Kevin from Charlotte poll are saying the Joseph stare, the mean muggin, is the winner.
Okay. I'm a big fan of 80s metal. So like Iron Maiden covers really speak to me in a unique way. I would like to see sort of, if we could combine some of these, where like it's the Joseph Martinez with the arms out, with the mean mug, like when he did his like Night King pose after goal scoring, with the bodies of a couple like Athanali and Bednick. If we can have them like flopped over on the ground in front of him as some of the tributes to the people who he has mercilessly just ended on national television. That's what I want. I want very 80s metal.
Okay, so he wants a big hair statue, Kevin. That's what Nick wants.
That's what I want.
Ricky Ricardo is apparently listening to the competition and to us simultaneously.
Oh, okay.
And he says he cannot wait for the morning show to hear the reactions to the full-time report being played on @ExtraTime, #Overreaction Tuesday.
The overreaction was on Extra Time?
Well, no, we would be having Overreaction Tuesday.
Okay.
But apparently they're playing the full-time report on Extra Time Radio. Or on Extra Time or whatever Extra Time is. Yes. Okay. New podcast Monday through Thursday, driven by @Continental Tire. Okay. So yeah, apparently Extra Time from MLSsoccer.com is playing the full-time report excerpts.
So this is from MLS.com?
Yeah, MLSsoccer.com, yeah.
MLSsoccer.com?
Their Extra Time show. They're at Extra Time.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to put the same amount of effort into listening to that as they do in having correct and balanced takes for anything that they do. I'm sorry. Look, they have some takes that make no sense to me at all. Weekly. And it just seems like
is that WEEK or WEAK?
It is weekly, WEE. They provide a week, WEAK.
Just checking.
Yeah. No, we have to
had to get the grammatician out. My mother was an English major.
No, I feel very sorry for you that you have to sit here and listen to me butcher the English language as I do.
I speak English very goodly. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, look, I just do my best. That's all I can do.
Yes.
But when they sit there and they seem to pick a team that really has, like, it's on the outside looking in and say, oh, this is our team, oh my God, everything's great. And then a team that's really doing well, doing things the right way, oh, everything they do is bad. Oh, it's trash, it's garbage, blah, blah, blah. I want to cancel. If we're living in cancel culture, I want to cancel that. So I'm canceling my subscription to MLSsoccer.com podcast, whatever. I appreciate that there are people who do listen to it, though.
What league do you want to hit up next?
Let's hit up Serie A.
Go for it.
For a couple of reasons, because it's going to factor into our transfer world.
September 2nd.
Yeah, so what's going on now is they are not in regular season. Okay, so they're not in regular season yet, but Mario Balotelli has found a home with Brescia, And Brescia is thrilled, over the moon to have him. And when he partners up with Tonali there, watch out for that team.
Okay, all right. Before you go any further,
Okay.
is there any truth to the stories that I heard that apparently Flamengo quoted him numbers in the wrong currency?
I have read that they quoted him, that they quoted his agent the numerical amount they were looking for, but his agent did not pay attention to the little emblem next to it, and so he didn't do the conversion rate apparently, and so they found out that they weren't going to get nearly the same amount of money that they thought they were going to get, and that's when he made the choice to go back to Italy. I have a couple of issues with this. Mario, Bobby, fire your agent immediately. Because if you get that far down the road in any discussion, when it's going to involve you moving across the Atlantic Ocean, you should have all of your ducks in a row, including the conversion rate of your salary. And allegedly there was a promise as well that they were going to bring his brother with him. And so all of it blew up. And it's a disaster zone. But that is what, Mario Balotelli, would you expect anything less?
No.
I think this is a really good move for him, though.
Okay.
And because the joke has always been Mario is a $20 million talent with a 10-cent brain. And I don't think that's accurate.
No? 15 cents?
No. I think he is a $20 million talent with tremendous anxiety issues.
Okay.
And the anxiety issues manifest themselves with self-destructive behavior. Because he doesn't know how to handle it. Here we go. They're coming from a hot take right now.
That's what they think. That's what they think of your Balotelli take.
That's exactly what they think of it. All right. So I think Balotelli's in a position now. He called his mom and he asked her. He said, "Mom, what do you want me to do?" And for those who don't know, Mario's adopted. I want to say it was like Euro. It was like one of the most recent Euro tournaments. He scores a winning goal and he runs over to the sideline. And it was one of the most wholesome videos ever. His adopted mom is there. She's crying, full tears, grabbing her baby boy. This monstrous man, and just almost putting him in a chokehold. So he asked her. He said, "Mama, what do you want me to do?" And he said, she starts crying. And he says, "Mom, I got to give an answer right away. Do you want me to come to Brescia?" And she's like, "Yes, yes, yes, come." So he took his mom's advice and he signed on with the team. So.
Okay.
That's a team that you need to watch. If you're looking to watch Serie A this year, watch that team. It will be exciting.
Unless, of course, you wear first-year Atlanta United stuff and consider yourself an Atlanta United fan, because the owner's got a thing for the number 17.
Yeah, he is. So Italy.
Seriously,
no, seriously,
no lie.
This is serious. This is no joke. This is no joke. In Italy, there are those who believe that number 17 is a cursed number, sort of like our number 13 here. And he will not allow 17s anywhere in his stadium. There is no seat 17 anywhere in their home stadium.
So you literally go in the aisle, you go from seat 16 to seat 18.
Yeah.
Like not having a 13th floor in a hotel. Yeah. This dude is locked into the number 17.
Yeah. Will not allow any player to have the number 17. So the number 17 is completely removed from the vocabulary of this team, from any of that.
I just wanted to check this. I heard this and I needed to ask you about it.
That's right. So with another thing with Serie A that we're looking at right now is Paulo Dybala. There are rumors that Sporting Director Leonardo is set to meet with Dybala's agent imminently, and they are hoping to get a deal that can be completed as early as Wednesday to bring Dybala from Juve to PSG. Now, We've seen this movie before, where Dybala was supposed to go to Man United, and then it all fell apart because they couldn't agree on imaging rights and all that. This is different for a couple of reasons. One, Juve played a Serie C team over the weekend, and Dybala had just a beautiful goal.
This was ridiculous.
It was a wonderful, it was an absolutely spectacular goal. But instead of doing, his celebration's a little funny. He makes a mask with his hand, right, where he puts if you make when we made like finger guns when we were kids, like pow pow pow, and like a little cowboy gun with your fingers. If you put your nose between your index finger and thumb, that's his celebration. That's his mask celebration. And he did something different in this one where he actually held up his Juve shirt, indicating to the fans, this is where I want to be.
Okay.
So the question is, has Dybala given up the desire to leave Juve? And will the team try to twist his arm into making him leave and taking this deal with PSG? Because things did not go well for PSG this past weekend, right? So while Juve was beating Pristina and they were getting all worlders, from Dybala, PSG lost to Stade Rennes. So if you're not familiar with Ligue 1, PSG doesn't really lose. That's just kind of their thing. They just win, and it's really boring. So Stade Rennes 2-1, and you still have a ton of talent on that team, right? And Neymar was nowhere to be found. They're not even putting him around the team at this point because he's such a cancer and they want him gone. And now you want to bring poor Dybala into this.
Yeah.
Dybala's not going to save your team.
No.
He's not. That team needs an overhaul. And if you're Juve, keep Dybala on the roster. You have to keep him. Because you need to keep him and play him with regularity, build his value, so that way, come January, you're dealing with a smaller market of legitimate buyers, not people who are just tossing crap out there, and you can sell them in the winter. But if you get a good half season of play underneath him and he's scoring goals, instead of getting 75 mil, which is roughly what they're looking at right now, maybe you're looking at 80, 85 million. And you have salary cost to offset if you're Juve. Gonzalo Higuain and his Carmelo Anthony contract.
Oh.
Fat boy himself is just eating up a chunk of change for you. You have to offset the cost. So build it up, sell them, offset that cost, and then you can try to move Higuain or whatever you want to do. But Juve's, they need some help on that end as well. So that's currently where I'm at with Serie A at the moment.
See, now, are there any other... I'm just going to say idiosyncratic. I'll use that word.
Okay.
When it comes to the number 17, like the owner at Brescia, is there anybody else who's that idiosyncratic when it comes to things out, about, and around and what you're going to do?
They are all psycho in their own way. I mean, they really are. Their psychosis depends on the particular issue at hand. So a prime example of this is Napoli.
Yeah.
When they were trying to negotiate with Chelsea about Maurizio Sarri.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about him.
Aurelio De Laurentiis was not going to let him go until he got exactly what he wanted, and he told Chelsea, "I am willing to let him sit and pay him until you pay me what I want." And he hired Carlo Ancelotti. With a coach, it's one of the few times you had two managers of a team. And
so how does that work?
I mean, both managers show up, security lets one in. I think that's the only way it can work.
Draw numbers out of a hat.
That's it.
Serving number 2 today.
This week, Carlo, you're going in. If you lose, then we're going to bring Maurizio back in. I think that's the only way it can work. But Maurizio, unfortunately, he had the flu. And as a part of this, he now has been diagnosed with pneumonia.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with Maurizio is he smokes an obscene amount of cigarettes. I mean, what did he say, like 60?
60. Was that 5 packs a day?
Yeah, something like that. It's like 60, like 5 packs a day. 3 packs a day?
So it's
okay,
20. It's 20. Sorry, so 20 per. So 3 packs of smokes a day.
Yeah.
And how many are in a carton? 10? 10 or 12. So that's 4 days. It takes Maurizio Sarri 4 days to blow through a carton of smokes.
Well, my boy needs to switch to vaping.
That is 90 cartons of smokes in a year.
The state of North Carolina thanks him.
90 cartons of smokes.
He's got to give it up. He's got to give it up.
What's the average cost of a carton of smokes these days?
Well, one, you're talking about Italy, number one. So that cost can fluctuate wildly. I'm not familiar with the current market of cigarettes in Italy.
5,400, huh?
And that's American. That's 5,400. That's 5,400 US. So you're thinking about what, 63 euro?
Sounds good.
Conversion rate? Yeah, we'll go 6,300. Maurizio can afford it, but Maurizio's diet is not good, right? It's not good at all.
No.
His health is not good at all. So this is something that Juve is going to have to address. And he knows he has to cut back on cigarettes. He's said it before. But Maurizio is probably not going to end up being on the touch line this week for Juve as a result.
Heading toward the final half hour here of the mega crossover show between Soccer Down Here, SDH PM, and Soccer Over There. I'm at OSG Nelson. He's at Nicoliffe. He's also at SOC Over There. We're with you till the top of the hour. And this is where we're going to be during football season, except on the SDH app as opposed to the OSG Sports app after the fact. So thanks for those who have followed us over today and who might have even downloaded the OSG Sports app in the process. So it's available iOS and Android as well. Jason from a plane in Montana has a question.
There we go.
Mondays with Reddit. Fiorentina are trying reportedly to get Franck Ribéry. What crazy move will they make before the deadline?
They were trying to poach some MLS talent, as was previewed here. Last week, was it? Yeah, last week.
Was it last week?
Was it last week? Oh, my God. It's been a long day for Mr. Leafy, I can tell you that. But what you're seeing right now out of Fiorentina is they need to be relevant. They are a team that almost got relegated. They are historically a known brand in Italy. They have tried. They've tried to make jumps and raising their Q rating. Hasn't really worked out so well. But if I saw this rumor of Franck Ribéry, and he posted on Twitter that Franck Ribéry, number 7, he's getting ready to drop some announcement, right? And he has number 7 shaved into the side of his head. And it's a very soccer.
See, if he had a 7 and an 11 shaved into his head, that would be an announcement.
That would be an announcement. But this is something that I think would be good for Fiorentina. It would be good for Franck Ribéry. There's a tie there, but with Luca Toni. Luca Toni, who was he was the striker for the Italian national team in 2006, tall, long-haired, good-looking guy, was at Fiorentina for years, and then they both ended up at Bayern, and so it didn't work out so well for Luca Toni. He was really on his last legs, but Luca Toni still has connections to Fiorentina. So if there's someone back channel engineering this move, it's going to be Luca Toni. So I would put this on the probability level as pretty high. So if you're looking at the handicap it, I would throw some juice boxes that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A man in his juice box is banking on Franck Ribéry and Fiorentina.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. We've done, what else is in the notes? Because obviously we're going to wrap up with anything else some folks want to send us on the Twitters or anything like that. We can always have our Bury and Bolton update, and that'll be at the end of the show.
Okay, so there's one thing that's floating around out there, and that's that Claudio Marchisio, who was with Juve for a number of years, left and went to Zenit, and it didn't last over in Zenit at all, as it happens with most players with significant talent who go to Russia. And he has said that he will not play in Italy because he won't play for any other team other than Juve. And he won't play in China because the ownership of Inter is too close to the team he would want to go to. I'm wondering if there's a particular team here in MLS that might be calling for Claudio.
Now, this was a discussion that you and Jason had about trying to connect some dots with a couple of different dudes making their way to Inter Beckham Miami United FC Albion.
Yeah, and look, if I'm Beckham, I'm calling up De Rossi while he's down in Argentina. I'm calling up Marchisio and I'm saying, look, if
Dog.
Playboy.
Bam.
Big timer. We have a certain amount of money. We're not going to be able to drop the Brinks truck in front of you. You can keep all of your image rights. We don't care. Come down here and let's get a title year one, because that's what Miami wants to do. They want to come in and they want to get a title year one, be competitive right out of the gate. And so, yes, I think that would be a fantastic move for them. And under Gattuso, who has experience playing with both De Rossi and Marchesio, he would know how to partner them in a midfield and know how to make it work. And he would be able to speak to them fluently in Italian. He could speak English, but he would be able to speak to them on the fly in Italian and make immediate in-game adjustments. So that would make a lot of sense for him. It would make a lot of sense for Miami. And there's a huge Italian contingent down in Miami as it is. Italians love to vacation in Miami. So this move makes sense for a lot of reasons.
And you add that to the young talent that they've already placed under contract.
Exactly.
Bring in someone like Gattuso to, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for, to help get them acclimated to professional soccer here in MLS.
That's right.
And to bring all of these different places together. I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what Inter does to assemble this roster and play in Fort Lauderdale.
I have no doubts that Inter Miami will be able to put together a fantastic roster. The biggest issue I have is buying in that they're going to get it done year one.
Will they be as creative financially as perhaps the LA Galaxy?
Well, I mean, sure, they could try to do it, but the biggest issue here is going to be, can they structure that roster in a way where they meet the expectations of the fan base? Because that fan base has been promised a lot of stuff. A fantastic stadium right there on the water. Nope, not happening. Get out of here. Okay, we're going to build it next to the Marlins Stadium. Nope, you're going to have to pay the Marlins like half a rent and everything else, and it's not going to work. Okay, wait. We're going to move it to Fort Lauderdale. Don't tell anybody. We're going to build a little stadium right here. Here's our wonderful graphic drawing of the stadium, what it's going to look like. Oh, it's temporary stadium now. It's a temporary, wonderful stadium they're going to be playing in. So we'll see. Oh, we have somebody here. What do you want to say?
You have questions.
You have a question?
You have questions?
Question, statement?
No, I mean, so I was told it was a soccer show in general, so I just wanted to ask, because I saw a lot of Inter Miami fans on Twitter who had come out and defended what was going on, because there have been stadiums bigger than what they're trying to achieve that have been constructed in lesser time. So I don't know, like, yes, it's funny right now when we look at them and be like, oh, you don't have a stadium, but I mean, they're trying to build a stadium, and I think it is still very plausible, because at least the good part is they're not trying to play in a baseball stadium the way NYCFC is, because they have been saying they're
I hope and pray they don't.
You know, so it's a step in the right direction that I think ridiculing it kind of hinders the MLS overall. That'd be my opinion. That'd be my opinion on that.
Okay. I see what you're saying, and I understand where you're coming from with it. And I'll say why this is a joke, not for Inter Miami, but for the city of Miami.
Okay.
And I'm waiting for my notifications to blow up. It's going to happen. The problem is that Miami has been handed by Jeff Loria. Remember that time he got drunk on stage and openly mocked the fact that he got the city of Miami to hand him billions of dollars?
Yes.
Okay. The issue is the city has told that team and the league time and time again, we are ready for professional soccer. We're ready to take it to a new level. We're going to be Miami everything. Glitz, glamour. Fort Lauderdale is not Miami. And so we have seen this before where the city has been on the hook to pay for a stadium, and they got yanked and ridiculed and mocked and because they bought this new stadium for a team that really should be playing in a cardboard box with what Derek Jeter's doing to him right now, as much as I love Jeter.
I love him.
And I love Jeter, the player. I don't
as an
like.
owner, he's bad.
Yeah, as an owner, he's terrible. But I wish they could have worked something out with the Dolphins to play there. I wish they could have. I agree with you that it's good that they're not playing in a baseball stadium. But for that team to come out, you are responsible for your own marketing and your own messaging. If you have an inkling that stadium deal is going to fall through, you need to come out and have one clear, concise message. The clear, concise message is We are working right now with the city of Miami. We're not going to show you 5 to 10 different artist renderings of what our stadium is going to look like one week to the next. Here's our temporary facility, which will end up housing our second team, our practice facilities. It's going to be in Fort Lauderdale. Don't get shocked. Don't be scared. And when the time comes and we're able to work through Miami politics, here's our brand new, super awesome, state-of-the-art stadium. Had they done that right from the jump, I wouldn't be ridiculing them. Okay, we have a follow-up. We have a follow-up.
We like follow-ups. This is good.
So it's not as much of a question per se, but it's more just like us in Atlanta. We have Mercedes-Benz, and it's amazing. And I will never want to, replace it with anything else. But we played the games at Bobby Dodd, and there was a time when we were promised when the stadium was going to open up the first season, and it didn't. And I think we need to give them a benefit of the doubt because they're bringing in this culture that hasn't been there. And honestly, the culture has been there in terms of soccer, but they're trying to build a new team and whole new identity per se. And I just think overall we need to cut them some slack. If it needs to be, let them play those away games at first, just like we had to after the first game of Bobby Dodd out here in Atlanta. And I think it's going to all work out because I do think they have a vision of what they want to do. And the fact that you're not seeing panic from the higher ups, it could be the fact they're all trying to hold it together to make it happen. But I also think you would have started hearing inklings of things that are not going particularly right, which some have come out, some have not. But I still do think overall, let's see what they can present to us when the time comes, because at that point we can hold the high road and be like, hey, this is not ready. But you see this not just in the US, saw that last year in England. Tottenham Hotspurs, their stadium was supposed to be ready, and they became the first team to play their home games in 2 different stadiums. So it's nothing new at this point, and I think as a country that's trying to grow the sport, we need to support when somebody is saying we're not going to play at the Dolphin Stadium, we're not going to play in the Martin Stadium. This is going to be a soccer-specific stadium, and here we go. This is what it is.
That's a very good point. And my mocking of them is I don't mock the scale that they're trying to do. I believe that Miami, when they come in, I think they're going to be a danger to win year one. I think in some ways they could be better than Atlanta because part of their leadership team, Paul Magana, saw what could have been done differently here, and I think he could probably make some differences there. My mocking comes in to how they have handled it because it's a PR disaster.
It is.
When you saw the pictures of their stadium, they've just now torn down the old stadium in Fort Lauderdale. It's flat dirt. They're playing. First kick is in 6 months. With Mercedes-Benz, there was concrete in the ground. They had structural issues they were trying to handle. We could physically see the stadium. We didn't have an artist rendering of it. Bobby Dodd was, it was the logical choice. It's still on MARTA. I hear what you're saying, and yes, we should be supportive of Miami coming into the league. And I think that they're going to blow the doors off a lot of people with some of the players that they're able to bring in. But I will endlessly mock anyone who comes out and trots out more than 3 artist renderings of what you think your stadium is going to look like. And it's not all their fault. It's also the city of Miami, their local government's fault as well. They've got to be smarter about that. They've got to be smarter about that. And I personally think that, they had the Fusion, they lost the Fusion. That stinks. Atlanta got a second shot at hockey. Miami should get a second shot at soccer. Right? I'm not saying ban them, but I am saying that the leash that MLS gave Miami is obscenely long and allowed them. It allowed them.
That's because of David Beckham, though.
It's because of David Beckham. But the Moss brothers, I think the Moss brothers had a chance to get this right in one hit, and they didn't, and they opened themselves up to ridicule. I have nothing against the supporters. The supporters have been there since minute one. They're showing up in the All-Star game. I think that's incredible. Good on them. I want to see what Miami does, but I want less for Nashville, Austin, everyone else. St. Louis. There we go. St. Louis.
Announcement tomorrow, by the way.
Announcement. Yeah, with the worst kept secret in MLS history.
Breaking news right here, man.
I want. Give me one artist rendering of your stadium, and give me your plan. That's it. That's all I want. That's all I want. That's what I'm mocking. But no. And if you come down to Brewhouse, you too can come on. Say your name so everyone knows who you are.
Hey, my name is Sapun Datta.
And Jason is with you, by the way, Sapun. He says that they'll be fine.
So here we go. I have some support out there. And so I'm Sapun, regular at the Brewhouse, and very thankful for both of you for having me on here.
Oh, yeah. We're here every
thank
Monday,
you.
Sapun. So you want when Jason isn't at 35,000 feet being forced to listen to the caddies at Bushwood do a show?
I mean, I texted him to ask him if he was coming. So and he said no. So that's why I was like, I want to be still on the show. So
Yeah. Dude, seriously, anytime.
I mean, I love soccer in general.
So seriously, just when we're here, heckle us and jump on and hop on, and it's all good.
And see, he completely disagreed with me on my Miami take, and I didn't snatch the microphone back.
And Jason disagrees with you too.
Right. Look, Jason disagrees with me on a lot. And Jason, I need you to fall asleep on the airplane. Stop listening to the show.
Yeah.
But there's no microphone snatching here. If you come up to Brewhouse, you can say your piece, be a part of the show. We want it to be interactive. And so Sapundu, he had a clear, concise point. We have a disagreement on the things. I would continue to mock the marketing efforts.
There's nothing wrong with pointer count on this show.
That's right. But I think Miami will be. They will have a shot to win it year one. Because the talent they're bringing in, if it is Gattuso, just stand by because it will be must-see TV. It will be.
David Moyes,
Dude,
if it's David Moyes or Big Sam or anything like that, forget it.
But why not though?
Because David Moyes I wouldn't necessarily have as much of a problem with as Big Sam.
I agree with
Big Sam I don't want anywhere near MLS. I don't want him anywhere near MLS. I don't want him sitting there eating like delivery pizza on the sideline. I don't want anything to do with that.
Could you imagine Big Sam having a Cafe Cubano at like the 30th minute?
That would be fantastic. That would be absolutely fantastic. Maybe it would be good. Maybe it would be good to have Big Sam here. So if you get
Big Sam having a Cafe Cubano and he's wearing like a linen suit on the sidelines, he's just kicked back in the chair.
I can see that. Could
you imagine Big Sam in a linen suit in Miami?
A linen suit in Miami.
Oh yeah.
That'd be terrifying. That'd be absolutely terrifying.
That'd be epic.
But David Moyes, I want to see him. I don't know if Miami.
Sapun, your beer has been rescued.
I don't think Miami would be the first gig that I would want to see him back with. I would rather see him try again in the Prem. I want to see him like some level of sustained success with the Prem. And here's why. I want him to have success in Europe. Europa, get the Europa League. Get the Champions League. Get it out of your system. Because I don't want a manager to come here, and I know that automatically they're going to go, Patata. Miami, I want somebody to come here who's going to be a part of a project. I had one issue with Tata Martino leaving as soon as he did, because Atlanta needs to... Now you have your manager who's going to be doing a sustained build, and I think that's what the new teams need more than somebody who's here for 2 years, 3 years, wins a trophy and is gone. Not every team has the structure in place to just, find the next big-time manager to come in, another 2 to 3 year shot, trophy and gone. I want to see somebody come in and build, and I think Miami wants to build. They've already got their academy up and running. If Moyes was to come in and say, I don't want to go back to Europe. I want to come to MLS. I'm going to stay in MLS. I'm going to build. Fine. Great. Amen. But if you come here to MLS and you want to stay for 2 years, try to win a title and leave with a new team, I have a problem with that. I don't think he's a disaster zone as a coach. I think he got a raw deal at Man U, but you're wearing a Man U shirt, so I'm sure you can speak to that.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, the only thing about David Moyes I'd say is I think it's kind of... We're trying to build revisionist history out here because Frank de Boer was there for 4 games with Crystal Palace and got fired really quick.
Got screwed.
Yeah, he did. And it's kind of, I think David Moyes at Manchester United kind of took the wrong hand, ended up with the wrong side of Sir Alex, and that's why he was gone in like 6 or 7 months. And then he went to a team in Spain that, Real Sociedad, decent team, but like very rarely do you see British managers succeed in Spain. I think he is much more responsible of building a culture and being able to build something special, because he did that at Everton when they believed in him at Goodison Park. And ultimately, the players he had brought through are the ones in the 13-14 season with Ross Barkley and everyone who did well for that team. So I do think like David Moyes, not Big Sam, but David Moyes can still be a very good manager, and I realistically don't think he's going to leave for Europe. I think he's more of a manager, 3 years at the very least, give him time. David Moyes knows him, David Beckham knows him from his Preston North End days, so they can have a conversation, and they have this setup ready. And I think
something I had not considered. I had not considered.
There's a relationship there.
The Preston North End. I had not considered that.
So
I have received a little bit of education here. When they hired Frank, I know on our show, we went on like the Frank de Boer education tour. I mean, we were talking about, I went into a deep dive on what went wrong at Inter. That's what I could speak to. And, talked about what went wrong at Crystal Palace. We dug up every old interview we could find with. So I never thought that Frank was going to be a bum coach. Frank signed a 5-year contract, if I can remember correctly. I think a 5-year contract. And he's talked about wanting to build something here.
Yeah.
Again, if David Moyes wants to come here and build, I'm all for it. The Tata Martino deal, where he's here for 3 years and is gone. I mean, realistically, he was here for like 5, because he was like part of the build-up process as well. I don't like what a dramatic philosophy change does to an academy, and that's why I want a manager who's going to stick around a little longer.
So don't you think that comes down to whoever the president is, and you see that in director of footballs in all these different European clubs?
Yes.
You need managers with similar philosophies who come in, who can implement similar, not the same thing, but similar to what the previous manager had. And I think that's how you build on success. And I think Tata Martino was perfect, because at the time, we got a bunch of, young South American players to come through, and you had Tata Martino out there who could lead all of them, and we had to take the next step. And Frank de Boer, man, there are very few academies in the world that produce players like Ajax does.
Oh, exactly.
So he knew that. He's bringing that in, and maybe the start wasn't as good, but you expect that. We lost the best player in the league. We lost one of the best managers that's coached in the last couple of years, and therefore Frank de Boer. Now you see that last night at Portland. Not a lot of teams go to Portland and play the way, and I think there's something to be said about these mid-tier managers from Europe.
Absolutely.
Who would much rather come into the MLS and have 2, 3, 4 years maybe to build a system, to build a team, and if it goes in with the philosophy that the team is trying to build, why not give David Moyes a chance? Because U.S. soccer needs to take that step tactically, and he's a very good tactician.
But the manager has to fit the location and the budget that the team provides for him.
I mean, I don't know if David Moyes is the right person for Miami, but
yeah, I think David Moyes would be fine for Miami. I don't think that. I mean, the guy would have to lather himself in SPF 9000 sunscreen in order to survive. But David, I think that with the amount of money the Moss brothers want to dump in, I think Miami would be a good fit for him. I have a problem if he were to end up in Nashville. If he were to end up in, I don't know what St. Louis is going to do.
We'll find out tomorrow, yeah?
We'll find out well enough. But if it's a Nashville situation, I have a problem bringing David Moyes into a situation like that. I would rather bring in somebody from, the Eredivisie, somebody from like a Dutch who says, be prepared to suck for 2 years while I build this thing. But you're going to have the greatest academy on earth by the time I'm done. I'll take that for Nashville. I don't want it like Miami. I want to win out of the gate because that's what it's going to take to put butts in the seats. And I need an academy that's going to grow and develop. I need a manager who's going to do that.
But don't you think Tata Martino, even though he was only here for like 2.5 years, if you include the building the roster stuff, he did that job in 2.5 years. He was very effective because he fell into the same philosophy that the club wanted to have. And as long as you can get a manager, it doesn't matter at that point if he's a good manager who falls in the philosophy. Even for 2 years, that's a very good deal to have, don't you think, Flo?
It is a good deal to have, and it's better than nothing. It's better than what a lot of academies are trotting out. A lot of MLS academies are just like, we have this kid, we don't really know what to do with him. Hello, Chicago Fire. A lot of talent, but get rid of him. I don't know. But when you see teams, I need to find that balance. Because you have a team like Dallas that has a phenomenal academy, but they don't close the deal. There's no, you're producing talent on talent, you're not winning anything. And then you have the Red Bulls, who have an academy that produces a ton of talent. They win a ton of supporter shields, but they need a couple of extra DPs to get across the line. The key here, though, for these new managers is I want a manager who's going to come in, and yes, Tata Martino was able to come in, build a winner in like 2 or 3 years, get an academy started, but I want a sustainable academy that is a team of world beaters. And I'm greedy. I know it. I'm greedy. I want it. And
You're a Yankees fan.
Yeah, I'm a Yankees fan. I want my Derek Jeter to come up from the farm system. I think we're going to get that with Atlanta United with what Frank's doing, and I think Frank is a better fit for that than a David Moyes would be here in Atlanta. I just do. I just think that Frank has
yes and no.
Because of the Ajax system, from adults down to the U9 kids, they all play the same damn way. Same damn way.
But don't you think it becomes a hindrance when it's not working out? Because after a certain point, the philosophy needs to change. Like, things that have made managers like Sir Alex great is being able to adapt to a different philosophy. And I think it is good to have, like, okay, from under 9s to the first team, everyone's going to play the same way. But I also think it is more than the coach. It comes down to the director of football, the sporting director, or the president to be able to be like, hey, we are changing the way we're going to play. So this is an implementation that's going to come from grassroots.
But we talk about Alex Ferguson and all that.
I mean, it's unfair to compare anybody to him, but
it is. But you're also comparing a team that has the ability to do a full roster turnover with zero financial implications, because a team like United, they're not in danger of getting into financial fair play trouble
because of the money they make.
Because of the money they make. A team that comes from like the Eredivisie, where you have like a lack of investment, you have to build.
No, but win. Isn't that what Everton was though in the Premier League at that point?
Everton was, but you still, if you go to your manager, if you go to your board and you say, guys, we have a team that we built homegrown here, but I'm like 4 players short right now. I need a new winger. I need a new striker. I need this. In MLS, those mechanisms aren't there for a couple of reasons. Not just you can have DPs, but you also have, okay, how many foreign players do we have on the roster? Okay, we have to get. We're tacked out on.
So do you think that's the manager's job to go identify those players?
It's the manager's. Tata Martino did it. Tata Martino had a role in it.
Yes.
Scouting department had a role in it. It's a holistic system that finds those players and brings them in to be good fits.
So don't you think it goes back to the point about the club president, the director of football, sporting director, whatever you want to call them? You need everybody on the same page of where the club is moving.
Oh, yeah.
And as long as you have a manager, because you know what, David Moyes might very well come in and be like, we're going to play park the bus, hoof the ball up, and that's how we want to play it. But if you can get effective players for that system, it's going to be effective. There are teams that have come to Atlanta and won against us doing that. They might not have won the cup recently, but they have done that.
How many butts are in those seats in their home stadiums?
I mean, look at DC United. They filled it up once Rooney came in.
Once Rooney came in. They changed their entire philosophy once Rooney came in.
No, but so as long as you have the rest of the philosophy done, a very good player who is right up there with like not down his prime, but like right up there, who can play in the MLS, it makes a huge difference where you just get one player and can change the system.
My belief, and we're going to have to wrap it because we're coming to the end of the show.
But we do have, and it's very important, QOD to finish.
Okay. We have a question of the day to finish here? Okay. All right.
I mean, I can leave if you guys want me to.
No. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this.
Talking after the show is over. You guys can keep going.
One, this is the great thing about soccer is that we're in a philosophy conversation here, right? And so the idea is you're right in that you need everybody on the same page. The right manager will come in and say, okay, let's all get on the same page. There are some managers who I don't think fit that bill, one, or two, will say, yes, I fit that bill, and then bounce, and it's not as easy to recover in MLS and building through the academy as it is in other leagues, where you can go out and buy a change agent very quickly for $70 million. You're not going to find anybody here paying $60 million. And Everton, to their point, they'd probably spend no more than 35, maybe $40 million.
Yeah, so
that's still double what the highest transfer fee in MLS.
See, I agree with all of that, but I also just think at some point the league is going to evolve, and I think
at some point,
we already see the evolution of the league from when we first saw Atlanta United and how teams played us. To nowadays, you see much more open games.
I love it.
And as football fans, that's what we want. Or soccer fans, that's what we want.
We can call it football here on this show. It's over there. We can call it football.
I mean, I'm from India, so I call it football.
Amen.
And I just think, yes, there are different philosophies and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it comes down to if from the top staff to the manager and everybody included, including the players, because you need to have them follow what you want to do.
That's right.
If they're all following the same thing, I think it is perfectly fine, the different philosophies of football, as long as everyone's on the same page. As long as you're not buying a player who's not trying to play the same way that you are. Because you see examples of that, big money transfers in Europe go wrong. You see certain times, like I really think Bastian Schweinsteiger at Chicago, he still was a player that could have come in and made a difference. At Chicago, I don't think midfielder is really what they needed, but they needed to put asses on those seats.
They had a lot of holes.
So I think it ultimately will come down to the roster construction from top down and how much the manager is on the same page as the players and the technical directors and everybody else. And I think whatever that philosophy is, as long as Miami, all the new teams come in and have a clear view, give the manager time. It's going to work out.
I think we agree on one thing as we wrap up. Management is the future of the league, right?
Absolutely. It's like tactical. And I'm going to go on a tangent and say this. I think America has enough talent to produce a team.
Preach.
The basic idea is you need everybody on same technical abilities, because you see Pulisic, and he's at a different level than some of the older guys because they never got to play in that system. So as long as we can bring those tactics in and we can bring in that idea, I think overall in the next couple of editions of the World Cup, America can very well produce a team that's led by Pulisic. He's 28, 29, and by that point, they can go out there and play some very good football.
All right, man. It was great having you on the show. Appreciate it. As I switch mics here. Thank you so much.
Sapoon, if you and Nick want to continue your conversation after we go off the air, you can. Because that's what this is all about. I'm glad that you dropped by. I'm glad that you texted Jason, and Jason was at 35,000 feet and got to listen to this whole thing. Don't be a stranger. All right, here's the QOD to wrap things up. Actually, do you have any quick hitters to clean up your sheet before we go to the QOD?
Let's go to QOD.
All right. Have you heard about what's going on with the Great Chicken Sandwich War of 2019?
I am. I'm familiar.
Apparently, this is a battle between Wendy's and Bojangles, if not other places.
We're having the Great Fried Chicken Summit because you have a series of sandwiches right now. You have the OG and Chick-fil-A,
right?
Which is it's an institution down here.
And apparently Wendy's and
Wendy's has
Bojangles
one.
are now a part of this discussion.
And Popeyes recently dropped their their chicken sandwich as well.
Okay.
It has been said on the Twitters
Yeah.
by a couple of people that it is a superior product to Chick-fil-A.
Oh, okay.
And that Chick-fil-A is, quote, and I'm quoting, this is not me saying it, that it's overrated.
Okay.
I love Popeyes.
Right.
3-piece dark meat spicy combo all day.
Okay.
That is my Popeyes go-to. So I have to try the Popeyes chicken sandwich before I can make any sort of statement. But I will say that if you're picking Wendy's over Chick-fil-A,
Yeah.
I need you to call movers. I need you to put your stuff.
And go to the Mason section of the country,
I need you to go somewhere else. I don't care where you go.
as opposed to
Not here.
as opposed to the Dixon section, which is what we're in.
That is correct.
Okay. And that has brought in some thoughts. Dan Graham says he doesn't eat any breaded chicken sandwiches, grilled only, and pickles don't belong on a
What?
chicken sandwich.
What?
And,
Who said this?
Dan Graham.
Dan, I appreciate the fact that you're trying to make healthy choices in life. You will outlive us all. However, to say that you do not need breading on chicken, I'm gonna have that be your personal choice, sir, and state that in my America, I will have all the breading on my chicken. All the breading on my chicken. You're not taking the breading off my chicken. That's my freedom. I'm planting my flag. You can have grilled chicken all day. I don't care. I'm planting the flag on that.
John Dolazar thinks a trip to Popeyes is in order for him to add his 2 cents to this argument.
Completely agree.
Chris Jones, ATL, at Christo with some numbers behind it. Monty Brewster, none of the above. I've never heard of Monty Brewster.
Haven't had it. Can't speak to it.
At True Blue Images, the Blue Sea ATLian says, Wendy's spicy beats Chick-fil-A, but Wendy's doesn't have a biscuit, and I wish Wendy's had better pickles, but I do need to try the Popeyes.
The issue I have with Wendy's is the bun.
Too big.
The chicken is good.
It's too big.
I've had too many hit or miss experiences with Wendy's.
Yeah.
So for me, I have to. There's not enough consistency there with Wendy's. I've been to Chick-fil-A all the way out to El Paso, and I can tell you that the Chick-fil-A is just as juicy, just as delicious, just as wonderful out in El Paso, Texas, as it is here in Atlanta.
Veggie K. That Bojangles biscuit is drier than British humor.
Amen. Yeah, look, Bojangles is where you go when you want to have super dry chicken, super dry buns made of sawdust and shattered concrete. That is a Bojangles bun.
Okay.
I have no desire for Bojangles in my life.
Chris Jones comes back and says, a game changer, COS gun show chicken sandwiches. I also had a very internet-y comment about fast food and home-cooked pan-fried chicken, but then he went ahead and deleted it. Gringo Vino Tinto is saying that we have to try Panko chicken, the best chicken sandwich hands down.
One on Gun Show. I've been wanting to go to Gun Show. I've heard it's incredible, so I'll take your advice on that and I will try it. The Panko chicken, sure, I'll give that a run.
Okay. And
I'm not closed-minded. I'm willing to have conversations about this.
Okay. And so that officially caught us up on rapid fire with the QOD from Longshore at 35,000 feet. It was his question.
Well done, Mr. Longshore. What do you have for Bury? Give us a Bury update.
Bury is still kind of hanging around in the Netherlands. They're still trying to find an owner, and they're running out of time. And if you haven't heard the exchange between the owner, Stephen Dale, and one of his players that was on Talk Sport, Jim White's show.
Oh, what?
Jim White had the owner of Bury, Stephen Dale, and one of his players on the show simultaneously.
Oh, no.
And it was 7.5 minutes of some of the best conflict radio that you've ever heard, because the owner's denying everything, and then he says, well, we paid you 50%.
50%?
We paid you 50% of your wages. And the player said that he's basically one paycheck away from being kicked out of his house. Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah. Stephen Dawson is on the verge of losing his house over the club's financial crisis. So go to Talk Sport. I'm sure they have the audio up. Jim White did a tremendous job of trying to negotiate the traffic between Stephen Dale and Stephen Dawson. Great radio. And as of earlier this afternoon, Bolton has postponed their match with Doncaster Rovers over player welfare concerns. This from the Telegraph. As Bolton has I think they only had 3 senior players last time out.
So is it player concerns as far as they're going to have to play kids to get the match?
Yeah, continuing to play kids. Bolton, from Tom Morgan from the Telegraph, Bolton drew criticism from the EFL after postponing their match against Doncaster, citing welfare concerns for their young players. So Bolton wanted to cancel. Bolton cancels their match with Doncaster. EFL's like, who gave you permission to do that? You got a schedule to meet. The club failed to inform the EFL of the plan before making the announcement. So that's good. And the Wanderers fielded just 3 senior players, losing 5-0 to Tranmere on the weekend, a week after the starting lineup averaged 18 when they drew Coventry City.
Oh, my God.
So the club's statement says, whilst the threat of further sanctions is obvious, nothing can be allowed to impact on the welfare of such a young group. With so many senior players injured or unavailable, the squad has performed heroically.
Close shop. Just go out. You go out on your sword and just say, you know what? We gave it our best. We gave it our best. We didn't have the finances to continue. You just got to shut it down. You can't just sit there and continue to trot out these kids and just so you make the match.
And Bury has until Friday to prove to the EFL they have the finances in place to start and finish the season. Steve Dale has yet to attend meetings, and players claim they have now been unpaid for 5 months.
Nope. You're done. You got to shut it down. If you're the EFL, you have to shut it down. You can't keep having owners do this, where they hold on to an asset, and they're essentially absentee landlords. You can't have that. That's not any way to run a functional business, and as a result, you have to make big boy decisions, and sometimes those decisions mean you have to lose the asset. You can't just continue to drag these people along and say, oh, well, your paychecks are coming, because at some point, you're going to lose your house. You're going to lose your car. So I feel so terribly for these fans, but you got to wind them up. It's time.
And Dan Graham, his Monty Brewster, remember the movie? Brewster's Millions?
Oh, yes.
What were you supposed to vote?
None of the above. Genius.
Dan, you win.
Dan, you win.
You win the end of the show from the QOD.
That is it.
Thanks to Sapoon Dutta for hanging out with us and
Sapoon, shout out, man. Well done.
Going back and forth with Nick about the status of and the state of international soccer, specifically what's going on in Miami. And thanks to everybody who's listened, watched. Maybe you downloaded the OSG Sports app along the way, available on iOS and Android.
You should do it. Do it right now. Do it right now.
Because you're getting ready for the other football season, FOOTBALL. All the news is there. All of our deep dives into all the conferences. College football's big over at the OSG Sports side of things, along with wrestling and everything else. John Dolazar wraps up and says, my wife and I have the COS and fries in nearly every United match, along with Fox Brothers, Tachos, and Farm Burger. It's in my top 3 for best food at the Benz. He's at Nicolifi, at SOC over there. We have made it through the mega show, sir.
Have we?
We have.
I'm hoping we didn't. My performance here did not cost you all your listeners and goodwill that you guys have spent so long building up.
Well, that's usually my job. Costing us listeners by putting things on the wrong channel in the network. That's usually how it works.
Marketing opportunity.
Yes, it was a marketing opportunity. So for Nick, for Jason at 35,000 feet, I'm just John. Play it safe, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm guessing at normal time. It depends on when Jason lands and if he finally does get to go to sleep. So take us home, Nick.
Till next time, mucha, mucha euro y'all.
All the lira. And maybe some euros, too.